What is going on, guys? Today we're going to talk about the 120 hertz, the 120 FPS everybody's looking to get from MLB The Show, and what the myths and the facts are that go along with that. There's a lot of things anytime you get into technology that kind of causes a lot of issues, and I'm hoping this kind of helps you guys with the struggles that come with that and how to get around them and best suit what you're looking to do and have success in finding the 120 FPS that you're looking for, whether you're streaming or you're going straight to your monitor. So let's get started. First and foremost, your entire setup has to be optimized for 120 hertz. If it is not, if your capture card and your streamer is not set up for 120 hertz pass through, if your monitor is set up for 120 hertz, but the cables you're using are not set up for 120 hertz, you will not get the optimal results. You won't get any results really. You'll be capped at 60 FPS and you will not get what you're looking for. You may think you are, but you're not actually getting it. So a lot of people are running into these issues where they are thinking they're getting 120 FPS, especially on the PlayStation side of things, because it is just an automatic feature. So if you are running the game, unless you have something that is actually showing you and pulling out 120 FPS, the game is still going to run. Whereas if you're a streamer and you go through your capture card and you're passing through 120 FPS, but your monitor is not supporting 120 FPS, you're going to get a blank screen. Same with kind of the reverse way around. So a lot of people who are not set up that way are set up directly to your monitor. You may be getting thinking you're getting 120 FPS, but actually only getting 60. So the first things first, your cabling, your monitor, your ports, everything has to support capture card, has to support 120 FPS in order for this. Secondly, and this is the biggest one, this is the number one thing people are running into right now with the 120 FPS, and that is your monitor is advertising that it gets 240 hertz, it gets 165 hertz, 144 hertz. But when you hook your console up, you are only getting 60. And a lot of this has to do with your HDMI port. Your HDMI port must be a 2.0 or above. That means if you are running an HDMI port of 1.4, you are hard capped at 60 FPS. This is causing a lot of headaches, a lot of turmoil, because they are very expensive monitors. Things like the Acer Predator actually still run a 1.5 port. There is really no way of getting around this. There's somewhat of a increase where you can put a adapter on with a USB plug, but those are very rare that they're going to push out 60 FPS, and I haven't seen many do so at a consistent basis. Specifically, there is a Vanilla, I don't even know what it is, but it's on Amazon. It says it will push out 120 hertz. I have one. It does not. It will only push out 60. It will convert your signal to 60 FPS and will not get you um especially and that's converting it to your display port. And the reason why this is, just to be able to give you some background, is a lot of these companies are directed towards PC gaming, which has the display port hookup, which causes it gets them the even higher speeds than the 120 FPS. So they're not as concerned from the HDMI port side of things. So their HDMI port is older, before the technology really came about that the HDMI could run the 120 hertz. So first things first, make sure your monitor has HDMI port 2.0 or above, and it will save you a ton of hassle as to why you're not getting 120 FPS. Now, the next issue always comes into play is your cabling. A lot of people use standard cables, a lot of people use older cables, people find them in the back of the rooms, whatever it may be. You need to make sure that you do have cable that can support, and it'll tell you usually written right on the side of your cable, that can support 120 hertz. If it's above 120 hertz, it's no problem. You just want to make sure that that cable supports 120 hertz. If you do run into issues with it, a lot of people are not going to with HDMI cables because they don't come in excess of 10 feet. But if you're running a cable above 10 feet and you're having issues with your signal, it may be because of the length of your cable. A lot of them cables are meant to support that kind of length, but it can cause some issues every now and then. It will be a rare scenario, but if you are running an extremely long cable that is kind of coiled up, it is always much better to use a more desired length and not use a bunch of excess cable. So always make sure your cabling does run with what you are trying to do. And the last thing that everybody is kind of running into a little bit is more from your capture card. If you go to Elgato's website, and I will post a link below, it'll tell you all the capture cards that they have that support 120 hertz pass through. Your capture card does not have to record in 120 hertz. There are very few that record at 120 hertz, but it does require to have 120 hertz pass through. So if your capture card gets 120 hertz pass through, you have your cabling, you have your monitor with the correct HDMI port, you should have no issues running 120 hertz. If you are, please contact me and let me know so I can update everyone. And I always am looking for resolutions on this. Just to give you a heads up, I've had tremendous headaches with this because I do have an Acer Predator monitor to run back when I used to play Call of Duty, and I only ran on PC. I found out the very hard way that I'm hoping to save people trouble are that monitor, even though I spent roughly like 600 hours on it, does not run consoles at 120 FPS. So it really sucked to find that out, and I hope you guys are not running that problem, or we can catch the problem before you run into that. So now let's get into the myths of the 120 FPS. Myth number one: 120 FPS is not going to increase your input delay, so to speak. Um, it is really something that you are just seeing a little quicker. You're feeling like things are reacting quicker, but your actual input into your game is not really being affected by the 120 FPS. What is being affected is the smoothness of your screen and how quickly you may be able to see. So if you sat there and had 100 frames within that time period, you are now getting 200 frames inside that time period, or 60 to 120, whatever you want to call it. And inside that time period, now you may catch a frame in the middle where you see it just sooner. This is very easier to detect inside of Call of Duty. I'm sure some people are going to be doing some videos as well to show it in MLB the show. But on the pitch, you may see the ball a little bit sooner. You may see the bat start a little bit sooner than you normally would, and that's just because you're getting double the amount of frames. It's not actually because your input is going in quicker. So even though you see it quicker, it was still going in at the same speed, but it just feels that way. You know what I mean? So you're not actually getting a better input from this, though you do get better inputs from a Xbox console than you do PS5. That is, I haven't seen like actual statistical data prove that, but it's very well known. It's so far the Xbox accessories work a little bit quicker, a little bit faster from an input side of things than the PlayStation side of things. The second thing that is definitely a myth is not just the input, but you are also not really getting perfects more because you have 120 FPS. You have 60. What it really is that you see the ball sooner, so you're swinging sooner, so you're playing better, right? It's not actually that the game is resulting better, you're just playing better. This is very important. Obviously, nobody really cares. The results are what matters, but it is all not a fact that you are getting the game is resulting better just because you have 120 hertz versus 60 hertz. Everyone will get the same results if they swung at the exact same time. It's just that you're seeing a pitch just a tiny bit sooner, you maybe swinging just a tiny bit sooner, therefore resulting in, especially in a game like this or Call of Duty, where you shoot, you are getting a better result. And technically, it's from the 120 hertz, but it's not exactly because the 120. And last but not least, with the 120 FPS, what it really is going to give you is better data processing, so to speak. So, in MLB The Show, this is not going to affect you very much. In most sports games, this is not going to affect you very much. But in a game like Call of Duty, where you're playing it, the one thing that does help tremendously from a Call of Duty range is when you have an automatic weapon or something like that, the 60 shots or whatever that go into the game, it can register those at that kind of speed, and it doesn't lose shots in translation, so to speak, from the data from your controller to the game to your monitor and back, so on and so forth. So, because it does have a better processing speed, um, the problem is for MLB The Show, the reason why it's not affecting it too much is because really you're only processing one data, right? You're not processing 18 swings, you're just processing one swing. It's just 'cause you start that swing and then it ends. So it's a full linear process at that point, much more than multiple streams of data coming in all at once, right? So really that part of it doesn't affect MLB The Show, but it will affect other games. So 120 hertz is just going to give you a better performance, a better experience with the game. It is not that it's not attainable from the 60 FPS if that's what you have. I will let you know you will see a tremendous difference going from 120 FPS to 60. Like it'll be very difficult to play, it'll be just tough. Much more than you see going the opposite way around. Like the people that are increasing, you'll feel it just a little bit, but it won't blow you away. It's not going to be like this. But if you try to go backwards from 120 to 60, you will it'll be vicious. It's a vicious cycle. So the one thing is that people that are increasing, you may feel like, oh, I didn't really notice the increase. Play it for a little while, go back once. It'll really, really show you how much that increases and how much that's helping you or making you just have a better experience overall. All in all, 100 obviously 120 is better than 60. If you can get your game to play right, I wouldn't, I never advise people invest the money that they don't have into their setup. This is my hobby, so I put a ton of money into this, and this is what I do every single day, right, wrong, or indifferent. The biggest thing is that you shouldn't expect certain results from 120 FPS, especially the things I've seen on the internet and things of that nature. Especially, you feel like, "Oh, this is just gonna make," it's not going to make you better. It's gonna give you the opportunity to see better, different things. If you still can't put PCI to ball, you're not going this is not going to make you put PCI to ball. So, take with that what you will. I hope this video has helped you out. I really appreciate you guys watching. Um, all the support has been great. Tune into TikTok, to Twitter, to YouTube. Everything, all the likes, any kind of follows are always appreciated. And until next time, I will see you guys, and you guys have a great day. Thanks a lot.